Hello, this evening we have the Module 5 assignment for Intro to Sociology, JAF8. This is by Alfred Moore Jr. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about the gender gap and inequality around the world. So basically, we're going to get started here. So we've come very far as a society, but we still have a lot of ground to gain when it comes to gender equality. We live in a world that was started from ethnocentrism, and it's continuing along that path as history repeats itself, as we've seen. And the only way to break that constant cycle is to produce change or reform. We live in a world where the strongest are rewarded, and we can't live in a world where the strongest is rewarded simply because they have the means to be the strongest. And if a surplus remains, shouldn't the surplus be shared with the group other than the individual? These are interesting questions because they revolve around morals and ethics. If society goes to the biggest and strongest, we can find two of the oldest social groups in society, that being male and female. Since humans have different bodies, it makes sense that humans that were similar stuck together in groups. So that would be the males, who have male sex organs and bodies sticking together, and the females who have female sex organs and bodies, they would stick together. Males are commonly thought of being more imposing physically, while females have a psychological and comprehensive edge when it comes to thinking and reasoning skills. It is due to this throughout the ages that males have always attempted to use their physical strength to treat women as second-class citizens. Dowell 2020 states, although the gender pay gap has narrowed since the signing of the Equal Pay Act of 1963, women earned 82 cents per every dollar a man earns, according to the 2020 data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. This means that on average, a woman makes 18 cents less per dollar in the United States than a man. That's almost a 20% difference, or 1/5 difference. That's a lot of money. I mean, if you think about it, for every $100 that a man makes, a woman makes 80. That is a lot of money, especially when you consider time and resources. And everything like that. If everyone's time is valued the same, then we would all be making the same. So why would it that a woman's time would be less valuable than a man's? Well, I mean, we can look back to the social aspect of family, and how young women are raised in America compared to young men. Especially in school in the younger ages, you see a lot of ethnocentrism where males will stick with males and females will stick with females because the other group has cooties. So we kind of see that separation there, where we have kind of segregation between males and females that starts really young, and society supports that segregation. Males and females have to be a lot less segregated and have to have the same rules and roles in society. Even with deviance and name calling, you can see a lot of the stereotypes against women are negative, and they're not allowed to do a lot of things that males are able to do. And then if we consider the socio and economic aspect, that are a lot of one-parent households in which the matriarch is the main character in the family, which usually lower income due to only one parent being in the house. I grew up in a single-family household. So I'm aware of this. I grew up with a mom and I had two younger brothers, so it was very difficult. But living with a mom, it made me have a respect towards women. The International Trade Union Confederation states that around the globe, women earn on average substantially less than men. The gender wage gap stands at an average at 23%. 23%, meaning that women earn 70 cents on every dollar earned by men each hour worked. In some countries, the wage gap is substantially higher. For instance, in Japan and South Korea, women earn on average more than 30% less than men for the same amount of time worked. And in Azerbaijan and Benign, the gender wage gap is greater than 40% for women of color, disabled women, indigenous women, and migrant women. The pay gaps are even higher. So this trend is common among the whole world, as society seems to always default to ethnocentrism. Or maybe it's those that believe in ethnocentrism are a little bit more aggressive in getting what they want. So they have a tendency to run the world and be in leadership positions because they get into power by brute force, and they keep their power by establishing rules that benefit them and discourage violence, deviance among the rest of the society, so they don't have to worry about getting overturned by someone of a lower socioeconomic status or a lower status in society. Now, when it comes to gender inequality, in my personal experience, I don't have personal experience with this because I'm not a woman. I mean, I'm not, and I'll never have personal experience with that because I'm not a woman. But I do have experience with racial equality, and I know how injustice feels. And with that being said, I live by the golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated, and I wouldn't want others to be treated unjustly like that. So as I was stating earlier, I was raised by a single mother. I have a wife and I have 2 daughters. I'd like to see them experience true equality one day, just like how I wish to experience true equality at some point as well. Wallman states that his predictions cover areas like the acceptance of multiple genders, the way that smart companies will actively tackle unknown bias to drive superior business results, and the expected shift in the equality debate to move from focusing on pay parity to quality of life. I feel that a change in quality of life is mainly important for everyone that experiences what it's like to not be equal. Our system here in the United States was set to not be equal. Our system was created to benefit the white American male. So if you're not a white American male, the system doesn't benefit you, even though you can get up and you can go to work and everything like that. Just based off of us being a country for the past 500 years or so, a lot of capital's been built and gained over that time, and minorities, a lot of minorities did not have the chance to invest in stocks, invest in bonds, catch up, build businesses from the ground up, such as Disney, Walmart, things of that nature. Minorities didn't have a chance to run businesses like those because they were working for free at that time, and it was the same thing for women. Women were meant to be homemakers. They weren't allowed to work, so they actually were part of free labor as well, because they were working for their husbands and for their families, quote unquote. So that was kind of unfair as well, and you can see the inequality there. So on my part, I feel that the only thing I can do on my part, especially with me, is by empowering the women in my life to push for equality in this world that we live in. It's going to be a difficult fight, just like anything, but a lot of things in my household, such as treating everyone fairly and equally between my daughters and son, try to treat my wife fairly. I felt it was important to teach my kids about the roles of sex and relationship within their early teens, so they understood the repercussions of the dynamic of sex at their young age. I believe American society needs a sexual reform revolution as well, in order to assuage some of the built-in prejudices built on gender, race, and age. It may be difficult to reform society at this point from an ingrained learned behavior, such as the monkey in the ring, the monkey in the ladder study. Yoder states that, like our monkey counterparts, we humans have a tendency to stick to plans and rules that lost their relevance and utility long ago. But unlike monkeys, we have words that allow us to have rich discussions about the things that confuse us. If something doesn't make sense to you, it's possible you're not the only one who's confused. So in this case, we can see how monkeys are impacted by a decision that was made long ago under a different set of rules, but everyone got used to the old rules. So basically, for this study, there was a ladder with a banana on it. So whenever a monkey climbed up the ladder, the other 3 monkeys got sprayed with cold water. So in order to prevent, the monkeys getting sprayed by the cold water, whenever one monkey went up the ladder, the other monkeys would violently attack, the monkey that was trying to climb up the ladder. So none of the monkeys would climb up the ladder to get the banana. They introduced a new monkey who had a raincoat. Well, the monkey with the raincoat, whenever he tried to go up there to get the banana, they would beat the monkey up, even though that, if he got sprayed, he wouldn't be affected by the water. Well, after that monkey got sprayed, they introduced a new monkey with another raincoat. And, following after that, all the monkeys that had raincoats wouldn't climb up the ladder because they were afraid of being assaulted. So, even though the monkeys had the raincoat and the water would no longer affect them, they still learned, that if you climb up the ladder, you're going to get sprayed, and they didn't want to get sprayed. So, that's kind of what we have to do as a society, is we have to change the thinking of, hey, we have raincoats now, we don't have to be afraid to get sprayed anymore. So we need to kind of change things and make things equal, especially, in the economy that we have right now. So it's my hope that in the future, a change in gender roles and stereotypes can change the world. I think it will assist this society by reaching utopia, because that's what the desire of society really is to reach utopia. In order for society to be fair, everyone has the ability to be equal. Like I said, I like to follow the golden rule: treat others the way you like to be treated. And, if you really abide by that rule, you don't need rules and laws and religion and stuff. You can just be a good person. But it's like Martin Luther King said, in his "I Have a Dream" speech. He said, "I have a dream that a person won't be judged by the color of their skin, but the contents of their character." That statement is actually a broad statement, meaning that, everyone should have a fair chance regarding of their, sex, religion, gender, color of their skin. We should all be judged by who we are as individuals and the decisions that we make. Maybe we shouldn't be judged just off of one decision in the Court of Public Appeals, but I think that people should be judged based off of their decisions, and as long as those decisions don't affect others, maybe we should stop holding people as deviants, because once we hold them as deviants, then they just get worse from there. But thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it, and you have a great night.